Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we dive into one of the most explosive developments both on and off the screen. A dramatic twist that threatens to shake the foundations of Port Charles while sending shockwaves through the GH fanbase. The mission involving Joss and Vaughn at the exotic Five Poppies resort has been one of the most anticipated story arcs of recent weeks. But sources reveal it will end in complete disaster. What was supposed to be a calculated infiltration to expose a dangerous smuggling network will spiral into chaos, leaving lives in jeopardy and one fan-favorite character facing an apparent on-screen death. And if that weren't enough to stir the audience, behind-the-scenes tensions have erupted, with Eden McCoy, the actress behind Joss, reportedly fired and taking to social media to unleash a scathing attack on executive producer Frank Valentini. This convergence of fiction and reality has created an unprecedented storm that has everyone talking. The Five Poppies resort storyline had been building for weeks, with Joss and Vaughn sent undercover to pose as a glamorous couple on holiday, all while secretly gathering intel on a powerful syndicate operating under the resort's polished exterior. From the moment they arrived, the stakes were clear-coded messages exchanged by staff, unexplained disappearances of certain guests, and a constant, unnerving sense that they were being watched. Vaughn tried to maintain their cover, but Joss's determination to take risks for faster results drew unwanted attention. As the investigation deepened, she stumbled upon a hidden storage area that contained more than just contraband. There were photographs and files that pointed to high-profile connections in Port Charles, including people Joss knew personally. It was this discovery that sealed her fate. The next phase of the mission was supposed to be extraction, getting the evidence back to Port Charles without alerting the syndicate. But before they could make their escape, the resort's private security team cornered them. In the chaos that followed, Vaughn was separated from Joss, who was dragged away toward the docks by armed men. Witnesses in the episode will see Joss fighting desperately, her voice breaking as she calls for Vaughn. But the sound of waves crashing and engines starting will drown out her pleas. The episode is set to end on a harrowing cliffhanger, with Joss shoved onto a small speedboat heading out into the darkness, her fate uncertain, but spoilers strongly suggest she will not survive the ordeal. While fans were already bracing themselves for a possible character death, the behind-the-scenes bombshell hit like a second wave of devastation. Reports confirm that Eden McCoy, who has played Jocelyn Jacks for years, was abruptly let go from the show. According to insiders, the decision was made quietly, but Eden's reaction was anything but silent. Within hours of the news breaking, she took to her social media accounts, posting a fiery statement that directly named executive producer Frank Valentini. In her post, Eden accused Valentini of being a hypocrite, claiming he had often spoken publicly about loyalty to his cast and crew, while privately undermining contracts and careers. She stated that her own contract with GH was still valid, but that Valentini had torn it up behind closed doors without warning or justification. Eden's message didn't stop at a simple declaration of unfair treatment. She went on to share personal anecdotes about times she had been assured of her job security, even as she sensed internal shifts that made her uneasy. She described the firing as not only a professional betrayal, but a deeply personal one. Given her years of dedication to the show and her connection to the fan community, her words quickly went viral, sparking a storm of support from longtime viewers, co-stars, and even former GH cast members who have their own grievances about similar treatment. The fallout from Eden's departure and her public accusations has now become intertwined with the unfolding on-screen tragedy. Fans are left wondering if Joss's death was always planned or if it was hastily written as a way to write the character out after the decision to terminate Eden's contract. The ambiguity fuels even more speculation, especially since soap operas are notorious for resurrecting supposedly dead characters. However, the way the Five Poppies storyline has been structured suggests this exit will be definitive, at least in the short term. The writers have woven in several emotional beats for Joss in recent episodes, almost as if laying the groundwork for a farewell. From heartfelt moments with her family to a touching scene on the Port Charles pier, where she reflected on her dreams for the future. Meanwhile, Vaughn's character is expected to survive the mission, but be left deeply scarred both physically and emotionally by Joss's fate. His guilt over not protecting her will likely drive him into darker territory in upcoming episodes, potentially setting up a revenge arc that could pull in other characters like Dex, Trina, and even Sunny. In true GH fashion, the ripple effects of this failed mission will not be contained to one plotline. The evidence Joss uncovered will remain in play, posing a threat to several powerful figures in Port Charles, and ensuring that her absence will be felt long after the Five Poppies resort fades from the screen. Backstage, the situation between Eden and Valentini shows no sign of cooling. Rumors swirl that legal action might follow, especially if Eden decides to challenge the termination on contractual grounds. Industry insiders note that while public disputes between actors and producers are not unheard of, Eden's willingness to directly name Valentini and accuse him of hypocrisy is unusually bold, and could inspire other cast members to speak out. Already, her posts have prompted heated debates in fan forums and social media threads, with some viewers vowing to boycott the show in protest. Others take a more cautious stance, choosing to wait for official statements from ABC or the GH production team. As for the audience, they're now watching GH through two lenses: one eye on the fictional world of Port Charles, where a beloved character is being ripped away in a violent end, and the other on the very real drama playing out between actor and producer. The tension between these two realities only heightens the emotional impact, turning each new episode into not just a continuation of the story, but a reminder of the messy, unpredictable nature of television production. The next episodes promise to be some of the most talked about in recent GH history. On screen, Vaughn will struggle to piece together what really happened to Joss, haunted by fragmented memories and flashes of her face in the darkness. Off-screen, Eden McCoy's voice will continue to echo in the fan community, ensuring that the conversation around her departure and Valentini's leadership remains loud and charged. For now, the mission at Five Poppies has ended in tragedy, but the larger war both in Port Charles and behind the scenes is only just beginning. Next, we will explore the emotional turmoil shaking up Brooklyn Quartermain's world, and its ripple effects on her marriage. The bombshell revelation that Joe Palmieri is actually Brooklyn Quartermain's biological son has left her in a whirlwind of confusion and heartache on ABC's General Hospital. For months, Brooklyn and her devoted husband, Harrison Chase, had been meticulously mapping out their path to parenthood through adoption, a decision born from the painful discovery of Chase's infertility during a routine medical checkup that upended their dreams of starting a family naturally. This infertility storyline added layers of vulnerability to Chase's character, showcasing his quiet strength as he supported Brooklyn through fertility treatments that ultimately proved fruitless. Now, with the truth about Joe exploding into their lives courtesy of her mother, Lois Cerullo's long-buried deception regarding the so-called adoption that hid Gio's true origins, Brooklyn's perspective on building a family has shifted dramatically. Lewis's lie, perhaps motivated by a misguided attempt to protect her daughter from teenage scandal in the cutthroat music industry where Brooklyn was rising as a songwriter, has forced Brooklyn to confront buried resentments and a flood of maternal instincts she never knew existed. Inventing a fresh twist, insiders hint at upcoming flashbacks depicting a young Brooklyn, pressured by Lois to give up the baby amid a high-stakes record deal negotiation, adding historical depth to her current emotional reckoning. In a recent heartfelt exchange amid the cozy confines of their Port Charles apartment, decorated with mementos from their whirlwind romance like framed photos from their wedding, at the Quartermain mansion, Brooklyn opened up to Chase about her need for a pause on their adoption plans. She expressed that mending her fractured relationship with Joe, who has been distant and wary since learning the truth, perhaps manifesting in awkward family dinners, where Joe politely dodges her attempts at connection, must take precedence before they dive into welcoming another child. Chase, ever the supportive detective with his background in law enforcement, masked his growing impatience but couldn't hide the flicker of disappointment in his eyes, agreeing to grant her the space she requested. This moment highlighted Chase's internal struggle, as he's been envisioning fatherhood through adoption agencies that specialize in international placements, even attending virtual seminars on parenting adopted children to prepare. Adding new details, picture Chase confiding in his brother Finn over a quiet beer at the Metro Court, venting about how this delay feels like another obstacle in their journey, drawing parallels to his past heartbreaks like the loss of his father Gregory. As time progresses, Chase's eagerness for fatherhood might prompt him to gently revisit the adoption conversation during a romantic evening stroll along the Port Charles waterfront, where the twinkling lights reflect off the harbor, symbolizing hope amid uncertainty. Brooklyn, still navigating the icy dynamics with Jauho, might be warming up through shared interests, like music sessions where she teaches him guitar chords from her hit song Scud. Initially reaffirm her hesitation, explaining that her heart is too consumed with rebuilding trust to expand their family just yet. This repeated deferral would likely amplify Chase's frustration, manifesting in subtle ways like him throwing himself into extra shifts at the PCPD to distract from the emptiness at home. Meanwhile, Brooklyn remains steadfast in her pursuit of Gio's affection, perhaps organizing surprise outings to local concerts or baking his favorite Italian desserts as nods to his Palmieri heritage, refusing to abandon hope for a genuine mother-son bond. Creatively expanding, envision a subplot where Gio confides in a new friend at school about his conflicted feelings, leading to a pivotal moment where he accidentally overhears Brooklyn defending him during a Quartermain family argument, sparking the first cracks in his resistance. Ultimately, the weight of her experiences with Gio could lead Brooklyn to a profound realization that adoption is no longer the right path for her, a decision forged from the anguish of years spent unknowingly separated from her own child, wondering about his well-being, his milestones like first steps or school plays, and the what-ifs that haunted her subconscious. She might reflect on this during solitary walks in the Quartermain gardens, surrounded by blooming roses that remind her of lost time, deciding she couldn't bear to impose similar uncertainties on another birth mother or child. Through the adoption process, this shift represents a mature evolution in Brooklyn's character, prioritizing emotional healing over expansion, and could be influenced by therapy sessions. She's secretly attending to process the betrayal from Lois, inventing an element. Perhaps she journals her thoughts in a leather-bound notebook gifted by Chase, entries that detail vivid dreams of Gio's childhood, reinforcing her resolve to focus solely on the family she already has. Facing this crossroads, Brooklyn would muster the courage to deliver the heartbreaking news to Chase in a tense scene, set in their living room, the air thick with unspoken fears as she explains how her changed views on adoption stem from the raw pain of her separation from Gio. Chase, who has been daydreaming about nursery designs and family vacations to amusement parks, would be utterly shattered, his face crumpling as the reality sinks in that their shared vision of parenthood is slipping away. While he comprehends her reasoning, empathizing with the trauma of hidden truths and lost years, can't escape the profound devastation, perhaps retreating to the balcony for a moment alone to process the blow. This revelation underscores the complexities of their partnership, with Chase grappling with his deep-seated desire for children, maybe even recalling childhood memories of playing Big Brother to inspire his paternal urges. Adding depth, Chase might seek solace from Willow, sharing how this impasse echoes the uncertainties in his own family history, heightening the emotional stakes. With their futures now diverging, Brooklyn content to nurture her budding relationship with Gio, while Chase yearns for the pitter-patter of Little Fee's foundation of their marriage begins to show cracks, leading to heated discussions about compromise and long-term goals. Chase's unwavering love for Brooklyn remains, but doubts creep in about sustaining a union without aligned dreams, possibly prompting him to explore counseling or even temporary separations to gain clarity. On the flip side, Brooklyn finds unexpected comfort in bonding with Dante Falconeri over their shared parental experiences as Gio starts to thaw, engaging in more open conversations that reveal his talents and fears. This closeness with Dante, rooted in co-parenting dynamics, could introduce subtle tensions, like joint family events where Chase feels sidelined, inventing a new layer. Imagine Dante and Brooklyn collaborating on a charity event for abandoned children, fostering their connection while highlighting Gio's gradual acceptance, such as him calling her mom for the first time in a touching moment. As these developments unfold, the big questions loom. Can Brooklyn and Chase defy the odds and salvage their romance amidst this rift? Will Brooklyn reconsider her stance on adoption after seeing Gio fully integrate into her life, perhaps inspired by heartwarming family milestones? And when she finally voices her firm decision to Chase, will it be the catalyst for growth or the beginning of an irreversible divide? Next, we will delve into the explosive upcoming twists that are set to rock Port Charles with revelations, risks, and resurrections. Excitement is building on ABC's General Hospital as the show's co-head writers, Chris Van Etten and Elizabeth Court, have dropped tantalizing hints about the dramatic arcs ahead, focusing on key players like Jason Morgan and Britt Westburn. In a recent chat with Soap Opera Digest, their insights promise a whirlwind of surprises that blend classic soap tropes with fresh, high-stakes conflicts, keeping viewers on the edge of their seats. Van Etten and Court emphasized how these storylines draw from the show's rich history of family secrets and unlikely alliances, potentially weaving in elements from past villainous legacies to heighten the tension. Imagine the writer's room buzzing with ideas, mapping out plot points on whiteboards filled with character connections, ensuring each twist feels both shocking and inevitable, adding a creative flourish. Rumors from the set suggest these developments were inspired by fan feedback on social media, where polls about favorite comebacks influenced the direction, making the narrative feel interactive and responsive to the audience's passion. One of the most jaw-dropping teases involves a massive clue that the notorious Caesar Phazon could be clawing his way back from the supposed grave, tying directly into Britt Westburn's mysterious return to the forefront. Van Etten and Court cleverly acknowledged the challenges of resurrecting deceased characters, but they pointed out that certain over-the-top elements in the soap world make such feats believable and thrilling. They highlighted how Britt, as the daughter of larger-than-life figures like Phazon and Liesel Obrecht, inhabits a realm where the impossible becomes routine. Think mad scientists, secret lairs, and dramatic escapes that defy logic. This hint aligns with subtle on-screen nods, such as cryptic messages or shadowy figures lurking in Britt's Croatian hideout, suggesting Phazon's survival might involve advanced cloning tech or a fake death orchestrated, with Obrecht's unwitting help, inventing new details. Picture Phazon emerging in a hidden bunker beneath the resort, his signature sinister grin intact, perhaps having manipulated Britt's medical treatments to ensure her loyalty, turning her into an unwilling pawn in his latest scheme for world domination or family reunion. Shifting gears, the writers also unpack the escalating fallout from Brooklyn Quartermain's colossal error, which has set off a domino effect with repercussions far more severe than anyone anticipated. This all stems from Brooklyn's slip-up that exposed the truth about Rocco Falcone's origins, revealing the tangled web of the stolen embryo scandal that led to his birth. Under Britt's involvement as Ben, as a result, Rocco has formed an unexpected connection with Liesel, sharing moments of vulnerability that deepen their bond, like heartfelt talks over family heirlooms that uncover shared Obrecht heritage. Lulu Spencer is already seething with rage at Brooklyn for unleashing this Pandora's box, and her fury is poised to intensify as the secrets ripple outward, perhaps igniting custody battles or public confrontations at the Metro Court. Van Etten and Court assured that Brooklyn's misstep ignites a chain reaction spiraling beyond her and Lulu's grasp, impacting the entire Port Charles landscape from strained friendships to legal entanglements that could drag in the Quartermain's vast resources. Creatively expanding, envision Brooklyn facing anonymous threats via mysterious letters, hinting at deeper conspiracies linked to the embryo theft, forcing her to team up with unlikely allies like Nina Reeves for investigative sleuthing that uncovers long-buried hospital records. Additionally, Van Etten and Court previewed perilous developments arising from Jason Morgan's relentless quest to locate Britt, a pursuit that inadvertently endangers those nearest to him. Initially, Jason toyed with respecting Britt's choice to stage her own death, vanishing into obscurity to shield her loved ones from her Huntington's battle, but his resolve to confront her shifts, unleashing a storm of unintended hazards. The writers cryptically noted that Jason's actions could jeopardize others, especially one individual with deep ties to him, setting the stage for chaos at the luxurious Five Poppies resort where Britt is concealed. This likely points to Jocelyn Jacks, Carly Spencer's daughter, and a young woman Jason has protected like family, whose own bold mission to the same location, perhaps a undercover operation tied to college journalism, or a personal vendetta doubles the peril with overlapping dangers like armed guards or explosive confrontations. Adding inventive elements, imagine Jason decoding encrypted signals from Britt's location, only to trigger a security breach that alerts Phazon's operatives, leading to a high-octane chase through the resort's opulent gardens, where Jocelyn stumbles into the crossfire while snapping photos for expose on shady dealings. These revelations from the co-head writers underscore General Hospital's knack for blending heart-pounding action with emotional depth, as characters like Jason navigate moral dilemmas and Britt grapples with her haunted lineage. The potential revival of Phazon adds a layer of gothic intrigue, reminiscent of the show's golden era of supervillains, while Brooklyn's blunder promises interpersonal fireworks that could redefine family dynamics. Across the board, Jason's risky endeavors heighten the suspense, putting fan-favorite relationships to the test in exotic settings that contrast Port Charles's familiar streets, with more wild news and stunning reunions on the horizon, including possible crossovers with other soap alumni or tech-savvy plot devices, like AI-assisted deceptions. The soap is gearing up for unforgettable episodes, What do you think? Could Faison's return shatter Brit's world? Or will Jason's search lead to heroic saves? Share your theories in the comments, and keep watching for all the drama unfolding in Port Charles.